We're just looking through the headlines. If you look here, the first one, 5 days to save Pioli. That's Gazzetta dello Sport talking about Milan. Milan at the moment, who've had a fantastic season under Pioli, but Gazzetta saying that now the recent results and the possible failure to qualify for the Champions League could see him in trouble. It says here 9 defeats in 2021, the future of his job too in 450 minutes. The real Ibra is needed. This is strange because for me, Pioli, we talk about Milan and the way they've played this season. With some I think they've really improved. And you look at the last season with Ralf Rangnick, the possibility of having that new start, that Maldini might not be there. They backed Maldini, they backed Pioli. It seemed the right decision. They've really tested Inter all quite a long way through the season. Yes, of course, it's fallen off a little bit at the end, but Champions League, obviously, qualification is going to be key. Not just key for Pioli, key for Milan, but it also seems here it's going to be key for Donnarumma as well. He apparently, it says here, has completely stalled on his contract negotiations with both Milan and talks with possibly going to Juventus because he wants to play in the Champions League. Of course, he's never done that because Milan haven't qualified for so long now. And so he's basically waiting out to see what his options are. It looks like there's potential of €7 to €8 million offer for Milan per season. But Juve could go as high as 10. Raiola is trying to get as much as 12, which is quite incredible. 12 million, however, that would cost Milan to get a replacement. Mannion from Lille. Whether they just decide to pay that, we will see. And actually keep hold of Donnarumma. It says here in Gazzetta, Gigio, the smile that divides, the Viola... can't even say it. The Viola are further away. So it's interesting there that's going to be going on and on till the end of the season. What else do we have in here? So we've got here that it says that potentially, talking of coaches maybe on the way out and players being on the way out, let's look at Juventus. Joya at the max is where it comes in with Gazzetta dello Sport basically saying Allegri's Juventus will start again. So potentially Allegri comes back and takes over from Pirlo. And it says that Dybala and Ronaldo are on the brink. Pirlo's position has come increasingly into scrutiny. A new revolution looms with the likes of Chiesa and De Ligt being the key men. But out of the top four will mean that Agnelli will be struggling to give Allegri a budget that he will want to start to rebuild that team. Well, keep it on. Might as well keep on coaches because it seems as though that's the talk of the day. It says De Laurentiis seeks an agreement for the post-Gattuso era. And the man to come in, potentially, Luciano Spalletti. Everyone loves Luciano Spalletti. It'd be quite interesting to see him at Napoli. I think that Spalletti is a really quality coach, and that Napoli team, that Napoli squad is very, very strong indeed. And you saw what Spalletti did and how he stabilised Inter and got them into the top four. Again, I don't think Gattuso, when Napoli have been good, we saw them last week and wow. Just wow. When they're good, when Insigne's playing well, Mertens is playing well, they are just gorgeous to watch. They're just fantastic. But when they've been bad, they've been awful. And Gattuso, for me, this season needed to get more of the good, obviously, and get rid of that part of them where they can just drop off a cliff. It's really been it's really been poor at times. Interestingly here, it says Napoli and Lazio's comeback have now put Juventus and Milan against the wall behind an unstoppable Atalanta. Gattuso and Inzaghi have recovered their men and got them back in form. And it is true that, you look at that situation and, they are back in form. So if Gattuso does get them into the Champions League, does it still mean he goes? Is that relationship now so sour between De Laurentiis and Gattuso that it's just not savable? Well, we will certainly see. Also here, we're talking in all of them here, just very briefly on Inter about the fact that there's a situation where obviously they're still looking to get that bridging loan of 270 million. This time it looks as though it's going to come from Bain Capital, which will eventually see Zhang be able to keep hold of majority shares and move forward with this if he can get that investment. Obviously there's still the talk around Conte and what's going to happen at the end of the season, even if Inter win the Scudetto, just how much money they're hemorrhaging at the moment. But it does say here that there is a plan to keep hold of their top players and still invest in the squad, the likes of Juan Musso from Udinese, and of course from Udinese again, Rodrigo de Paul. There's a talk of left backs, left, right, and centre. To be honest, excuse the pun. And so it does look as though there is a potential to keep hold of the top players. It says cost of skyrocket due to renewals and pay rises. Zhang now wants to cut certain players, but that's more likely to be the likes of some of the older brigade like Kolarov and Vidal. So it may be the fact of when we see players like that, maybe even Alexis Sanchez, who was mentioned yesterday, on the way out, but then you've got the returning Sebastiano Esposito, for instance, and maybe just for wanting to use the youth system. No, it won't happen. Surely not. Sensible decisions from Inter. No. So also here, in all the papers, it talks about Diego Maradona, that his death apparently could have been avoided. So omissions and negligence, it says here in Corriere dello Sport, talking of that. Tutto Sport also following up saying Diego's death isn't manslaughter, so not nice to hear news like that. So that's pretty much it for today's papers. It's going to be quite an interesting end to the season. Inter, of course, can win the Scudetto this weekend if results go well. If they beat, they get their 3 points and other results go in the opposite direction. So that will be interesting to see. And of course, as well, we've got Roma versus Manchester United on Thursday. Something that is mentioned here in Gazzetta dello Sport, also saying as well that Ferguson wanted Totti at Manchester United. Well, thankfully that didn't happen. They did not just because it's Manchester United, but thankfully Totti didn't go anywhere. Right, well, if you like that, and you like this, just please, always like, subscribe, and we'll keep doing this. Ciao for now.